So I'd like to start by thanking Sarah for curating this lovely show and saying how honored I am to be a part of it. I sort of looked at Connecticut Printmakers as the kind of show I'd be in like 25 years from now, and I had just portfolios and portfolios of prints. I looked at my studio and thought, there's already portfolios of prints, so maybe not completely the wrong place. Yeah, so printmaking was sort of, I started as a very meticulous child. I loved to draw. I drew all the time, drew erased, never knew when to stop, over-labored everything. And I remember going into the art classroom that one day in 7th grade and seeing all this stuff set up for printmaking. I was like, what's that? They're letting us use knives? Like, this is awesome! Like, what a big mess it's gonna make. This is gonna be great. And inevitably, the first time I screwed up almost immediately, and having to live with it. And couldn't go back. That's it. Nope. It's there. So then you have to deal with it. And I kind of like that sassiness of printmaking. Like, what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen, and there's nothing to be done. And so that was just a start in grade school. And little did I know, years later, after experimenting with painting and all these other mediums that I just don't do anymore, I went to UConn to do my EFA. And I think it was sophomore year that I went across the street from campus to the UConn print shop, which is a renovated strip mall. They've since demolished it, unfortunately. And going in and feeling that same joy when it wasn't just blades and things set out in linoleum, but also these big machines, like with cranks, like chemicals, just all these dangerous, horribly toxic, but exciting things. And like kind of stank, like mineral spirits, like just that, like I guess 30 years of art students who are not known for their hygiene. And this wonderful, these wonderful angry capital letters on the chalkboard, Gus's, of course, welcome to printmaking, and taking the basic class. And even though I ended up being an illustration major, I kept with the printmaking because I just felt at home there. Just going there every time, everyone worked so wonkily. Like we've been talking about what is a printmaker, but in that one shop you had the people, the lithostones, I still don't know what they do. Like, bless you if you do that, it's amazing. And then the woodcuttists, woodcut people, the crazy etching people who are always doing those weird aqua tints. And I eventually got introduced to silkscreen, which I did for the rest of my college career, although I did dabble in woodcut still. And then I ended up becoming a teacher. And I'm glad that this is a very receptive audience to, well, hopefully, to the art of printmaking, because I teach 6th grade to 12th grade, and most of them don't really care. Miss, why is that? No one does that. No, it's like I do that. So I have to bring in my own work and convince them that it's actually a medium that's still practiced. And what they don't understand, and what a lot of people don't understand, is that printmaking was once graphic design. It wasn't necessarily an art form. It was used to make multiple copies of a thing. It's the most primitive, basic way to make multiple copies of a thing. That was another reason why I gravitated toward it in 7th grade. It's like, oh, I drew this once? I can make 100 of them? This is awesome! Yes, yes! And not to mention that, you know, you can see the struggles with how, like, if you start at printmaking, you see how advanced we've come. You know, printers are terrible and horrible beasts that ruin everything, but they can produce multiple colors and multiple shades. It's not the case with woodcut. In a lot of print media, you have to really work at getting all those colors. And so I like the limitation with that, I like the struggle with that. I've never been a particularly color-inclined person, so finally a medium that accepted it was wonderful. And so I kept with it and use it to endlessly guilt my students of how easy they have it. They could just send me the Photoshop file of whatever abomination, wonderful masterpiece that they gave to me, and I can send it to print, and they get to be all proud of their masterpiece. So I should have stopped there with the teacher job, but you know, I'm not going to sit there and grade all day. I still love printmaking. It's meditative, therapeutic for me. And there's just nothing, like at the end of the day, going to my studio and finding a piece of garbage wood plywoods I find in the parking garages or whatever, taking my big couch and just slamming all perspirations away. It's fantastic. Trust me, if you're a teacher out there, try it. It's great. Even if you don't end up with anything, just do it. It's great. It makes a mess. Like, cathartic, to say the least. So I picked the sassy woods too. Like, I know you like your softwoods, and softwoods are nice. They cut like butter, but I'm not that. I like to let the wood tell me what to do and to have a struggle with it. So there's once in a while you get that plywood that's been in the dumpster. My friend Greg has helped me find some good pieces in the dumpsters that they've just gotten a little, tough in some places, and you have to like really dig in there, and something shatters, but it's okay because it's a woodcut, and that's the nature of it. So I have several pieces in the show. I have these two big ones in this room, the 2 foot by 4 foot ones that took 4 people to wrestle onto the press at UConn to print because I had curly paper. To all you printmakers, don't flatten it, interesting to do. And I have some more in the basement that I qualify as my more, I don't know, commercial, not really, I don't make money off of that, but more sellable pieces, among which is this one. It's a cafe in France. That I use pretty much all my tricks with woodcuts. I use saw blades to get some of the textures in there. A big U-gouge. I think you showed a few of the tools that we use. Some more meticulous work. Like stippling is not something that happens for me, but I guess I was particularly frustrated with students that day. I don't know why I brought that up. But that's just an example of some of the work I do. I've been getting more into color, which was aided incidentally by my purchase of color inks. That was helpful in that regard. So moving away from the black and white, but it's good to have a show where they're all grouped together. In terms of subject matter, I hate this question. It's just, I just don't like. I focus on story most like. I like to, what's that fancy word? Juxtapose several images and let the viewer make what they'll make of it, and go from there. Honestly, there's times when I look at the wood, especially if you use weathered old wood, it will tell you exactly what it wants from you. And the big pieces in there are a good example of that. So a lot of faces, a lot of tortured, sorrowful faces. So I decided to free them from their wooden surface and include some other things in there that maybe people will read a deeper meaning into. But that's question time.
Do you really use a hammer?
I actually use, I don't even know what it is. Like it came with my desk. It's just like a slab of wood, and I just, yeah. I wish I had a hammer. Yeah, I guess. You can use it, but it's a little worse for wear. Should probably find a different one at some point. Yes?
Do you when you print, do you hand push, or do you always run a press, or how?
I really wish I had a press. If anyone hears of a press that needs a home, I will happily house it. But the little ones, I use like a wooden spoon or whatever, and then the big ones I tried to press them by hand, but it didn't work. It just looked bad. So I went to the print shop and manhandled them onto a press bed.
Because they're so big, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, you're done burnishing one area, and then that's over there, it's peeling up, and you're like, oh god, it's hurry up over here, like kneeling on the thing, and it just gets really messy really quick. Because unfortunately I don't use the non-toxic stuff, just the stink of the oil ink is just so nice. It's so bad. It's so bad, but it's so good, and the oil just gets everywhere.
Alexia, for the larger ones, do you use the Connecticut press?
No, they didn't fit. So it was the one with the captain wheel.
Oh, an etching press.
Yeah.
And foam? Are you using foam to push down into the wood?
That's a great idea.
That's good. Yeah. Well, because you get that dimensionality that you have, or you're interested in, and that'll really come up in the paper, I think.
That would have. See,
this is what the panels are for. We can learn. Yeah. But you don't use you just did it straight with the
Blanket.
foam is great.
This is what, like the foam you would use on a wall.
Yeah, and then you adjust the pressure. Yeah, you set it up.
form, right?
Probably better for the press too.
Mhm.
You set it in a form.
A form?
Talk to you later.
Yes, a form, of course.
No, so the roller won't.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay, I do that.
Yeah.
I match the notches. They provide helpful guidelines. Anybody else? Yes?
I see that you do it, like, put a lot of labor into your work, and it's passionate, and it really moves me, and it reminds me of times when I was like doing a piece and putting glass in framing, and the frame would break or something, and, you know, bleed my finger, and I see that in you, and they put a lot of effort, and it really is wonderful. It's like giving birth, kind of.
It really is. My students always ask, why don't you have children? It's like, I make art babies. But, yeah, it's, okay, yes?
Could you tell us a little bit about what the subject matter is of the large prints? They're too similar in their social commentary, right? But what is the social commentary?
I guess the most concise way possible, I wake up every morning, I don't know why I do this to myself, to Google News. And I'm sitting there eating my oatmeal and flipping through it on my smartphone, which I like to call Tracker, because everyone knows where I am now. So I like to flip through it, and you see all these horrible things, plane crashes, just suffering everywhere. And I go, well, I'm gonna go to work, and kind of put it down. And so there's a piece where it's a lot of the faces I was talking about earlier that I saw in the wood. And then the foreground, or kind of lower part of the print, it's a bunch of devices being held by hands with the faces in the screen as if they're being filmed. But there's a distance between the actual suffering and the recordings of the suffering that is a problem I don't know how to solve, and it bothers me.
I thought they were just about selfies, so thank you for explaining that, which is also interesting.
That is an interesting subject matter as well, but usually there's more duct tape than selfies. And then the other one, Watchdog, is perhaps more optimistic, but to be honest, I'm not quite sure where I was going with that one. But it was the beast in the front is intended to be some sort of warden or helping figure towards the faces behind it. So that's where I was going with those.
Thanks.
What else? Thank you so much. It is an honor.